Wake up, you ain't heard the news. Fast breaks on your screen, always making moves. Thank you for joining me here live, YouTube, the Fast Break Sports Hour, Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018. Again, thank you for joining me here. Tuesday, man, it's the second day of the week, but treat them all the same, man. Have fun all the days you can. Treat the next day or your present day like the most important day. Now, I started this show off with a little bit of Roman Reigns theme. For those of you that are WWE fanatics, definitely know that theme, Roman Reigns. The reason why I started off with that is because for those of you that didn't catch it yesterday, or maybe you did, I want to speak on it a little bit. Roman Reigns came out at the beginning of Raw yesterday, WWE on Raw, Monday Night Raw, and he came out, normally as he does in street clothes with his championship belt and proceeded to, you can tell something was wrong, something was off because of how he was speaking into the mic and how he was just off the cuff and being real with the fans. And he let it be known that he had been dealing with leukemia for 11 years now, and put it into recession back when he was 22 years old, and came out and said that it had came back. So he was going to relinquish the title and obviously be with his family and fight this. And he said, man, he's gonna do everything he can in his power to show not just himself and his family, the WWE, but also all the fans and all the people that deal with these types of just illnesses, diseases, that you can fight this, defeat it, and come back stronger than ever. So deepest thoughts go to Roman Reigns, real name Joe, as he stated. Just best thoughts and wishes go out to him, and hopefully he has a speedy recovery and comes back better than ever to regain the championship and just be able to do what he loves to do. So shout out to Roman Reigns, WWE superstar, great person, just from what I've heard, and definitely beloved within that WWE family, and beloved by all the fans. He gets booed a lot. It's 50-50, but definitely a workhorse, definitely a guy that can put the company on his back as he has. So again, much love and shout out to Roman Reigns and speedy recovery, and I know he's going to be back better than ever, and he's going to defeat this once again. But just had to start off with that. I'm a big WWE fan, and sometimes you get caught up in just the the athleticism. You get caught up in the show, and you don't realize sometimes how real these athletes, wrestlers are. Like, they deal with a lot of stuff that you and I deal with, and these guys are athletes. This is a sport. These guys are putting it out on the line every day, and it takes a toll on their bodies. But definitely something like this that comes out of nowhere, this news. So it doesn't matter if you do or don't like the persona, the wrestler Roman Reigns, but I'm pretty sure you will all have good thoughts and best wishes for the wrestler, WWE, the person who is named by Roman Reigns. So again, starting to show Roman Reigns, he's gonna give you that ooh rah, some one of those for him, so that he defeats this. Now let's get to the World Series. It's hard to transition from real, heartfelt news into sports, but that's what you have to do. World Series 2018. The Los Angeles Dodgers visiting the Boston Red Sox, where you'll have Chris Sale pitching for Boston, starting off for Boston, their ace, going against, and there was a lot of question as to who was going to start the game for the Dodgers. Was it going to be Kershaw? Was it going to be Hill? But at the end of the day, when you look at the matchup, when you look at Boston putting out their ace, obviously he has normal rest. Kershaw said, you know what? I want the ball. I'm going to go toe to toe with Chris Sale. Game one in Boston. And man, what a matchup. What just everything around the matchup, the scenery, where the game's going to be played at. This is a dream matchup. Don't get it twisted whatsoever. And when you have two aces like this, you hardly, you'll see it once in a while during a regular season where you'll see ace versus ace. And when I mean ace versus ace, I'm talking about top five pitchers going against each other, and it's happening in the World Series, and that's incredible. And it's happening in the AL Park. For those of you that don't know, the way it works in the World Series is so the American League, they have a designated hitter. They don't. The pitcher does not hit in any of the American League games, especially when they're the home team playing against a National League team. So them being the home team, it's going to be American League rules, which means none of the pitchers will bat. So you're going to have a designated hitter. And the lineups have already been reported. So for Boston, it's going to go as follows, 1 through 9. Betts will be first. He's going to lead off, followed by Benintendi, Pierce, Martinez, which has a real good history against Kershaw, Bogarts, Devers, Kinsler, Leon, and Bradley Jr. It's just up and down from 1 to 9. That's a hell of a lineup. And for the Dodgers, you're going to have a lineup of Dozier, Turner, Freeze, Machado hitting cleanup, Chris Taylor, Kemp as the designated hitter, Hernandez, Puig, and Barnes in the 9th spot, starting at catcher for the Dodgers. I was a little bit surprised there. I know Yasmani Grandal didn't have the best NLCS. It was pretty bad. But I thought he would get the start today. Doesn't get the start. But you, especially on the Dodgers side, so you didn't hear Bellinger in that lineup. You didn't hear Peterson. You didn't hear Muncy. But you can expect to see those bats tonight in substitution roles, especially with the DH out there. So definitely expect that. And this is going to be a series about consistency. With these two pitchers, they can shut you down, but you have opportunities early. So I think that's going to be the big thing for Boston and LA is to get something going early. Because the earlier you can get something going against these pitchers, these aces, then that's going to have both teams, whichever happens first, scrambling into their bullpen because this is the World Series. It's not about, well, let's give the starter a chance to go 5-6 innings. Maybe he can figure it out. Not to say that if one of these pitchers gives up 2 runs early on that they're going to be pulled out. No, but there's going to be a trend here. If they see that one of these pitchers is, give up 2 early runs and they continue to give up hits or they're just struggling with the strike zone, then there's not going to be a hesitation because this is it. This is what you play for when you're in baseball. It's not about, well, I want to get the win. I want to go 6 innings. I want to go 7 innings. It's about what's best for the team at this moment. And the Dodgers just figured what's best for them is to start their ace in game 1, give them an opportunity to come back in game 5 if necessary, which to me, I don't think there's any way any of these two teams sweep the other. A lot of the early returns are saying that the Red Sox are the favorites in a 6-game series. That's been the norm. Yesterday I said I got the Dodgers in 7, which means when you go to 7 games, it can go either way. I think this matchup is going to be very tight. I do not see any of these teams winning in 4, and I don't see them winning in 5. I think it's going to be at a minimum a 6-game series. But early on, it's going to be important for the bats to get going. And for the Dodgers side more so because they're a very up and down team. They're streaky when it comes to hitting. And unfortunately, you can't have that in the World Series. Someone's going to have to pick somebody up if they're not able to get it done. You can't have, 7 or 8 guys in your lineup just whiffing and not being able to get hits, especially against the Red Sox, because you're not going to have that for Boston. So it's going to take patience. Max Muncy, who isn't in the starting lineup, He's drawn 10 walks in the postseason. So that's the type of patience you're going to need when you look at just pitchers that are, they're on top of their game, and they can get you out in three pitches. Kershaw can get you out in one or two pitches, trying to get that fly out. That's what these pitchers are going to try to do. And you just look at the playoff numbers on each side. So you have JD Martinez for the Red Sox, who's been their best hitter in the playoffs. He's averaging 313, 9 RBIs, and 2 home runs. And again, he has that history with Kershaw. He's taken Kershaw deep a couple times, and he has that experience. JD Martinez was with the Diamondbacks and had those matchups with Kershaw. So that's going to be, to me, that's going to be the key matchup for the Red Sox, and more so the Dodgers. Can you, Kershaw, can Kershaw go against the norm against Martinez and get through Martinez? Because, you look at the lineup. Betts, leadoff, that's one of the toughest leadoff hitters in all of baseball. And then you have Bogarts at shortstop, who he can get it going easily. So, Bradley Jr., his average wasn't that good in the playoffs, but he has 9 RBIs and 2 home runs, which means that when there's people on base, that's when he comes up clutch. He's averaging 180 something right now, which obviously isn't great. But when the time is crucial, when the game is on the line, when you got somebody in scoring position, he's going to bring them in. He's a clutch hitter. So that's one thing to watch for tonight as well. On the Dodgers side, offensively, Machado leads the team with 3 home runs. Batting average isn't too high up there. He's at 250. So one out of every 4 tries, he's getting a hit, which isn't bad, for playoffs. Especially these stats are condensed because, it's not, you're not taking the stats of a 162 game season. These guys have played 8 to 10 games. So take that for what you will. You don't have any of these hitters batting over 350, which kind of surprises me, especially with the short amount of games they've played. And for the Dodgers, their best hitter up to date is Yasiel Puig. He's batting 333. So that's going to be key, because to me, Yasiel Puig has always been the driving force for this team. Not to say they can't win if he's not on his game, but when he's on his game, they're unbeatable. When Yasiel Puig is on his game and bringing that fire, bringing that, that character. You can't have the character if you're not playing good. And if you're not playing good, you're just going to, cause commotion or whatnot. People are going to be like, man, look at him, he's a clown, this, that, and the other. But when you're hitting, when you're making plays, all of that just lights up your team, and it looks like more you're just having fun. And I think Yasiel Puig just needs to have fun and give it his all, because I think he's a player that is determined by how hard he wants to work. Sometimes I feel like he looks disinterested when he's up to bat, and he's not always locked in. I might be wrong, but that's just what I can tell from body language, from how he goes up to the plate and how he's reacting in the outfield. I've seen enough games to know there's 2 sides to Yasiel Puig. So what side are we going to get? Are we going to get the 333 side? If the Dodgers do, real good shot at winning this series, and especially winning Game 1. So again, Kershaw, he's 2-1 in the postseason with a 2.3 ERA. Not too bad, not too shabby. He had that one bad start where there was a lot of pass balls, errors as well. But the other 2 starts that he had were, A+ starts for Kershaw. Those 2 wins that he got. The first one against the Braves and the second start against the Brewers, those were A+ starts. And then he finished off the Brewers with a relief role on Saturday. That's why there was a question as to whether Kershaw would pitch, just because he did pitch that 1 inning. But if you remember, he had pitched on Wednesday. And if you look at just the timeline, Monday would have been the earliest he can pitch. Well, it's Tuesday. And that 1 inning on Saturday really doesn't make too much of a difference when it comes to pitch count and disrupting him being able to go today. So I don't expect any setbacks He's ready to go. No excuses. And you look at Sale, who's 1-0 in the postseason, has one no decision. ERA is 3.48, a little bit higher than Kershaw's, a run higher, but that's the way the American League is with the DH. You have to put that into consideration. They don't have a pitcher hitting over there, so there's no such thing as an automatic out in American League ballparks. When a pitcher comes up, that's an out. You can mark that down as an out. I mean, but if you look at the Dodgers, they gave up hits to the Brewers to the pitchers. So that I guess it's not an out when you talk about the LA Dodgers going against pitchers. But American League rules, pitchers will not bat, DH. So here we go. It's gonna be tough to gauge what kind of game we're gonna get. Are we gonna get a pitcher's duel, or are these teams gonna hit? It could go either way. So it's gonna be exciting to say the least when you talk about Game 1 in the World Series. And I think it's vital for the LA Dodgers because Kershaw's pitching tonight. And Chris Sale, you have to remember too, he's coming off an illness. So is he full go? No excuses there. But that's always going to be in question depending on how this game shapes up. But it's going to be big for the Dodgers to get Game 1. I think at the end of the day, if you're the LA Dodgers, you want to split. Definitely. I mean, if you give 2 games in Boston, that's wonderful. But I think at the end of the day, you want to get a split, and I think the best chance for you to get that is here in Game 1 with your ace starting, obviously. But Game 1 will not determine the winner of the World Series. There's going to be a lot of baseball to be played and a lot of impactful moments. This is just going to be one step of it. So it's going to be a great game tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's my local time. 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check your local listings. All those games are going to be on Fox. You don't got to check your local listings. Just go to Fox, and you'll see the LA Dodgers at Boston and the Green Monster, Fenway Park. Man, legendary field, historical ballpark, historical fans. And it's going to be rowdy. It's going to be a rowdy one. And Red Sox going to be there full force. Will the Dodgers show up full force? I believe both teams are going to have their A games. It's going to be fun to see. Either way, Game 2 pitchers tomorrow, same time, same ballpark. We're going to have Ryu for the Dodgers going against David Price for the Boston Red Sox. And they're on so on and so forth. The pitchers already set games 1 through 4. On the Dodgers side, you have Kershaw, obviously, today, Ryu, and then you got Buehler for Game 3 and Rich Hill for Game 4. That 3 and 4 are in Los Angeles. Also, Game 5, if necessary, where you probably will see Kershaw pitch again, unless, and this is a big one, because Game 2 being Saturday, if the Dodgers, for some reason, are down 3-0, and it's a Saturday game, you can expect Kershaw to probably get at least 4 innings of work in that game just to save the series and see where it goes from there. But I don't see any of these teams taking that 3-0 lead. I would love for the Dodgers to get the 3-0 lead, but I'm going to be realistic with it. I think it's going to be 2-1 after 3 games. And that 4th game will still be vital for that team that is down 2-1 to make sure they don't go down 3-1. Because now you're in some muddy waters there if you're down 3-1. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Game 1 tonight. Hope you guys are locked and ready, man. Hope you got some cheeseburgers with you, or some cheese pizza. Something with you. Just don't have no clam chowder because that's what Boston likes. They like the clam chowder, and we're not rooting for Boston here. But may the best team win, the Dodgers, and hopefully it's a great game. That's what I'm looking forward to. Switching gears, NBA. Before I get to the NFL, just quick little NBA. The Los Angeles Lakers, man. LeBron James, man. I mean, LeBron James is doing his thing stats-wise. Okay? Averaging 27, 8, and 8. That's what LeBron James does. The average is a little bit higher than what I thought it would be with the Lakers. I was thinking more like 25, 8, and 8. But 27, 8, and 8, that means he's doing his thing. But the Lakers are 0-3, which as a Phoenix Suns fan, I got Steve Nash over here on the side. I got personalized jersey that says fast break right there, Phoenix Suns status. For me, 0-3, that's great. I love that the Lakers are 0-3. But it's somewhat of a little shock factor. It's early on. 0-3, I mean, it is what it is. It's not make or break. But at what point do you start to, get closer to sounding the alarm? Not just for LeBron James, but just for the organization itself. They had that little melee on Saturday with Rondo, with Ingram. So there's that. You don't have that composure. And then LeBron James doing what LeBron James used to do back when he was in Miami, where he would dominate the game. Now, granted, he hit the three against the Spurs last night, a big three, to send it to overtime. Right in the face, just pulled up three, bam. Tied the game, going to overtime. But then in overtime, the Lakers are up by 6 points in the last minute. And in the last seconds, I believe there was, 12 seconds left. And I might be wrong, 12 to 18 seconds. It was one of the last possessions. LeBron James is at the free throw line, and the Lakers are up by 1. And he misses both free throws. LeBron can't be doing that. See, I'm a LeBron backer, which means I believe in LeBron. I defend LeBron. I say LeBron James is the greatest basketball player to ever walk this earth. He just dominates. And the way I depict that is I'll put all the basketball players in the history of the NBA and I'll play a pickup game. Who's my number one pick? I'm going with LeBron James because there isn't anybody that can stop LeBron James. The only one that can stop LeBron James is LeBron James. And you might say, well, nobody can stop Jordan. I beg to differ. Now, you're not going to shut Jordan down, but if I put LeBron James D'ing up on Jordan, he might stop Jordan. Or if I get Kobe, I can get Kobe to stop Jordan. If not, just equal him out. When you just talk about one game, Kobe versus Jordan, man, I'm not going to say Kobe's going to win that, but Kobe's a killer like Jordan. But Kobe's just a whole different monster when it comes to scoring, and he can shut you down. So that's a wash right there. You can say what you want. Leadership-wise, I'll take Jordan. Jordan is the leadership. But when you talk about clutch, him and Kobe are neck and neck. Now, I'm not going to put LeBron in the clutch, but just dominant. You give me the number one pick, I can pick any player. I'm going to pick LeBron James. 10 times out of 10, I'm going to pick LeBron James. So 0-3 Los Angeles Lakers. Not a good start. LeBron James stats looking nice, but you cannot miss 2 free throws to take a 3-point lead against the Spurs. Spurs come down, take the ball out, hit a 2-point shot. Now the Spurs are up by 1, and then LeBron misses a 3 at the buzzer. Now, first of all, okay, he took the shot. Great. But he had enough time to take it in. Dude, you can take it in and you can just do whatever you want. Take it in. Do not settle for the 3. I understand your legs are done. You're in overtime. You're tired. But so are they. So take it in. Do what you know you can do and dominate down low when it comes to the end of the game. You're down by 1 point. You don't need a 3. So it's little things like that. And he's going to you can say he did his part when you look at the stats at the end of the day. But when you watch the game, he needs to take over at the end of games. That's it. This is a Lakers team that doesn't know what the playoffs are. A lot of young guys, some retreads from other teams. JaVale McGee, yeah, he knows what a championship feels like. And he puts up stats. But JaVale McGee makes a lot of mistakes. And I think him being with the Warriors changed that up a little bit because he got the championship. But it's still JaVale McGee. He's still going to scratch your head sometimes. Ask Shaq. JaVale McGee. And doing Shaq than a fool, whatever it's called. Rajon Rondo, he has a championship. He has that pedigree. But you saw Saturday, he can't control his emotions. He's a very emotional player. And then you have a lot of Lance Stevenson. He had issues with LeBron James. He's not going to play the biggest part of parts to help this team get to wherever they are going to get to. And then you have all the young players. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram. You know, it's just, it's a tough situation, but you put yourself there. LeBron James, you put yourself there. So you're expected, by me at least, to be a 4 or a 5 seed. You know, this getting in as an A seed isn't going to cut it. Getting in as a 7 seed, and I know it's the Western Conference, but it's not going to cut it. You are expected to do things just because of what you did in Cleveland. Now, it's the Eastern Conference, but you still did it in Cleveland with, I would say, somewhat lesser players. Now, Kevin Love, I don't think there's a Kevin Love on the Lakers right now. Not at this moment. I'm waiting for Ingram to take that next step. He showed flashes last year, but I'm looking for Ingram to be that number 2. That legitimate number 2, not forcing to be the number 2. So that remains to be seen. But LeBron James, I'm going to be critical about what happened last night against the Spurs and how that game ended. Great 3 to tie it up, but now finish it off. You're up by 6 with a minute left. There's no reason why you need to lose that game. You're up by 1, 2 free throws, end of the game in overtime. There's no reason why you missed 2 free throws. And they were both in and out, but you don't miss them, man. Switch them things. Come on. Let's get that going. So Lakers 0-3, not the end of the world, but still, I'm going to call it the way it is. I'm going to be real with it. I expect a little bit more. Again, 0-3, I'm cool with it because I'm a Suns fan. But as a defender of LeBron, not going to go for it. I'm going to call you out on that. Now let's get to the juicy stuff, the NFL. Monday Night Football. Man, there were some things that I'm just like, that's why the Giants are 1-6. The New York Football Giants lose to the Atlanta Falcons 23-20. And when you look at the final score, the New York Giants 20 points didn't even look like that's a lot for what they were able to do. You know, there was a garbage touchdown at the end of the game, but there was a big play in the game where many will say, well, Eli Manning should have, So let me draw it out. The Giants are down 10-3, and it's 4th and goal, and they run a play to where it's like a jet out for Odell Beckham, and the play is, Eli, once the ball snapped, you throw it out there. It's a quick play. You can't think about it. If you think about it, there's not going to be enough room. He's going to get covered. So that's a bang bang play. But I'm not upset about that. Okay, it's incomplete. Falcons ball. What I'm upset about is, why don't you kick the field goal at that point? Because it's not like teams that go for it on 4th down to score, to try to get a touchdown, a 4th and goal, are teams that know they're going to be back there. Teams that say, you know what, if for some reason something doesn't work out, it's okay because we're going to have another opportunity. We're going to drive it down the field and we'll get it done next time. That to me is what teams should do. But teams that struggle to score in the 20s, that struggle to score 17 points, need to get any points by any means necessary. So you kick the field goal. And we could do this hindsight 2020 all freaking day. But hindsight 2020, if you decide to kick the field goal, what's the final score? 23-23, right? But it's not a final, so you go to overtime. You give yourself an opportunity. You add points. You put points on the board. But if you fail to put any points on the board, give the other team the ball, it was all for naught. And you saw the Giants. They moved the ball, but it was all for naught. Eli Manning, 399 yards, no interceptions. Shepard had a hell of a game. Odell Beckham had a hell of a game. Saquon struggled on the ground, but there was little flashes there, and he was catching the ball out the backfield. That defense did its job against an Atlanta Falcons team that can light up the scoreboard. And if anything, you could tell the Falcons did their job on the ground. They said, you know what? We don't care if Eli Manning throws for 350. We don't care if he throws for 400. We're going to make sure Saquon Barkley doesn't get 50 on the ground. We know where their bread is buttered. And that was the right game plan. But if you're the New York Giants, you got to kick a field goal at that moment and put those points on the board because you're not a team that's been shown that you can put up points at any given moment. You struggle to get points. Kick the field goal. And then why are you going for two? When you do score a touchdown and it is 20-12, if you kick the extra point, you're down 7. Normal teams do that. Now, there's this whole thing that the analytics say, well, you should go for 2 because now you're down 8. You still have a chance to tie the game, but yeah, now you got to make a 2-point conversion. But if you kick the extra point, you got a better chance to tie the game with another extra point if you score a touchdown. Now, they'll say, well, if you go for 2 and you get it, now you're down 6 and you put more pressure on the team. Yeah, but that's a 50-50 chance. That's a 50-50 proposition at best. And when you throw the ball, like I stated in the Tennessee Titans Philip River Charger game, when you throw the ball, it's more of a 30% chance, 25% chance for anything positive to come from it. Ball can get deflected. You can get sacked. You can throw an interception. Or you can catch it and make the 2 points. There's too many scenarios. If you run the ball, okay, that might be 50-50. But you can still fumble, this, that, and the other. But you get what I'm trying to say. When it comes to an extra point, it's better than 50-50 that he's going to make that. Now, many of you might say, well, there's been a lot of extra points that have been missed. So then let's just get rid of extra points. And let's just say you got to do 2-point conversion no matter what. Say, we're going to put the ball at the 1-yard line, that's 1 point. Or we're going to put the ball at the 2-yard line, that's 2 points. Pick and choose. Kick the extra point, man. Quit outsmarting yourself. You're not good enough to make up points. If you're the New York Giants, you are not good enough to make up those points. You just threw away 4 points. That's what they did. And I know they got it back at the end of the game when the Falcons were like, hey, whatever, you can have a touchdown. You can have the 2-point conversion. So at that point, it doesn't matter anymore. And look at that. Look at that part where they drive down the field real fast and there's over 40 seconds left and they got the ball near the 1-yard line and then there's a quarterback sneak. Eli Manning can't quarterback sneak that and he doesn't get it and they lose 15 seconds. They line up again. Oh, they got to call play or he's got to, kill the clock. He runs another quarterback sneak. It still doesn't get in. So now you wasted 25, 26, 27 seconds. And then you score with like 5 seconds left. So even if you get the onside, which is, don't get me started on onsides. I don't like the new rule because you can't recover onsides anymore. Because of the new rule where you can't attack a certain way when that ball is getting kicked off for the onside. Oh, man. But 40 seconds, if you do recover, is a lot different than 5 seconds because you can still set up a field goal to tie the game. But at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter if you kick the extra point and not miss the 2-point conversion or kick a field goal and not lose the ball on downs on 4th and goal earlier in the game. It's just little things like that. And that's why they're 1-6 because you look at their offense and they got talent galore. And people will say, well, it's Eli Manning. To me, it's still not Eli Manning. He's part of it, but that offensive line is horrendous. You throw for 399. No interceptions. You had trouble running the ball. It's just little decisions, little mistakes. Maybe Pat Shermer's not cut out for this position. It's a tough job, but I guess somebody's got to do it. The Falcons, it's by any means necessary, the Falcons got to win. They're 3-4, so they stay in the hunt. The Giants got pitchforked, 10 days ago, 11 days ago, when they lost to Philly. But this was their chance to kind of say, you know what, let's get things going in the right direction. But that's it. Now it's my looking like a fire sale for the Giants before the trade deadline because they already traded Eli Apple this morning to the New Orleans Saints. Their first-round pick from 2 years ago. Man, who's next for the New York Giants? Now, they're not going to trade Saquon. They're not going to trade Odell Beckham. They're not going to trade Evan Ingram. But other than that, anybody can get traded on that team now. Anybody. Eli? Who wants Eli? Jacksonville does. And if I was Jacksonville, I'd be like, man, give me Eli Manning, please. But that's another story for another day. Let's get back to Amari Cooper and his trade yesterday with the Dallas Cowboys. And how I mentioned it's going to be a hit or miss trade. It's a risk reward. But I still wouldn't have done the first round pick. Man, that's a big, big, big pick for a player that hasn't been really a big part of this offense the last 2 years. A year and a half. Last year and a half. Things were trending up his first 2 years, as I mentioned. 2,000-yard seasons his first 2 years. As a 21-year-old and a 22-year-old. So things are like, man, things are looking up. And he's still a young pup, 24 years old. Can you rekindle anything that he had the first 2 years? Or can you just adjust to whatever's been happening? Because could it be the organization? It can be. Or is it a quarterback? It can be. Is Dak Prescott a better quarterback than Derek Carr? I don't think so. Not as a pure passer. Is he a better leader? Possibly. I can say that. But a better passer of the football, I don't see that. Personality-wise, he looks like a team guy. I don't know much about him or Derek Carr when it comes to personality. I've heard Derek Carr is a crybaby. And he looks like a crybaby. And Dak Prescott just looks like he's a leader. So that can help. But I think it takes a little bit of mind games. Man, they're going to have to get this guy thinking and knowing that he's the answer at the receiver position. That he's a number one. That he's an unstoppable force. Because if he doesn't believe it, it's not going to work. If Amari Cooper thinks he is what he was with Oakland, it's not going to work. And you don't waste a first round pick for an average receiver. Because that's what he's been. He's been an average receiver. Let's not beat around the bush here. So that's a big, 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 man, first round pick for Amari Cooper. Again, you have to look and say, okay, there was reports the Eagles offered a second. So then you offer a second. Because as it looks, you can easily say the Cowboys are going to be drafting before the Philadelphia Eagles. So you would still be given a higher price. You'd be paying more than the Eagles would because you'll be slots higher. So you would still win if it came to the bidding war for Amari Cooper. So I think they jumped the gun when it came to a first round pick. I think they could have done something like a second and maybe a fifth, and that would have sufficed. When this whole thing came out, I'm like, Amari Cooper's going to get traded for like a fourth because of how he's been playing. I could only go by what's been going on the last year and a half with Amari Cooper and the Raiders. And he was the third option or the second option. No, he was no option. So that's a head scratcher. But again, the reward is there if you're able to tap into Amari Cooper his first 2 years as he was trending up. Because this Amari Cooper was trending up like this the first 2 years. And in the last 2 years, he was like this. Boom. And he just stayed right there. That was Amari Cooper. So I think it's going to take the mind game. It's going to hype him up, man. Let him know that he's, the top-notch receiver. Because if he doesn't believe it, it's not going to work out. So that's going to be a risk reward. That's another 50-50 proposition. But that's a hell of a price to pay for a 50-50 proposition, the first round pick. But hey, man, Jerry Jones is like, by any means necessary. There's that word again. By any means necessary, we're going to give you a first round pick. And all that did was, that set the bar, like I mentioned yesterday, that set the bar for other teams trying to trade for a lot of these players that want to be traded, i.e. Patrick Peterson, I want to get traded. And those reports are true. That's not rumor. And will the Cardinals trade him? So now the Cardinals are like, this team traded Amari Cooper and they got a first round pick. Patrick Peterson, man, who still has 2 years left on his deal, very cheap deal. Oh, man, we're going to start at a first round pick and then go from there. You got to give us a 1 and a 3 for Patrick Peterson. Now, it's not going to be the Saints anymore because there's reports he wanted to go to New Orleans, but New Orleans already done made a trade for Eli Apple. I don't see them making another trade for another cornerback. So there's Philadelphia, who, if I was the Eagles, I wouldn't trade for Patrick Peterson. They need help on the offensive side. They need help at the running back position. Go get you a Jordan Howard. Go get you Le'Veon Bell, like I mentioned. If you're willing to give up a first-round pick, do it for Le'Veon Bell, because that's where you're going to need the help at. You get Le'Veon Bell, that solves your issues at receiver and running back, because that's what he does. He does both. That's what I do if I'm the Eagles. And you know they got to make a move for something, because they're not just going to sit back and say, well, Dallas got a receiver and we're tied with Dallas. We got to make some sort of move offensively because we're at a standstill. Or are the Eagles' offense is looking average? Again, that can be the part of the growth of Carson Wentz, or just a return from the injury. So you can take all of that into consideration. But they lost a running back. They lost their starting running back, their workhorse. Now, they've always had a running back by committee, but they had Jay Ajayi, who took the grunt of the load last year. This year, it was a little bit less, but still. You want to have that force in the backfield to where you can say, you know what, I'm comfortable giving them 20 touches a game. They're not comfortable giving anybody 20 touches at this juncture of the football season. When you look at Wendell Smallwood, when you look at Darren Sproles, Corey Clement, the rookie Josh Adams, it's not going to happen. They're not going to give those guys 20 touches. Whether you call it, rushing attempts or receptions. No. They're going to say, you know what, we're going to give these three guys a total of 22 touches, So I think that's going to be key for the Eagles. Patrick Peterson, New England Patriots, I don't know if they're willing to give up a first-round pick for Patrick Peterson, though I know they don't really garner their first-round picks as other teams do. Why? Because they always pick at the end of the first round because they're always in the Super Bowl or in the AFC Championship game. So they can give up a first-round pick, and it doesn't really hurt the Patriots. But they've already made a deal for Josh Gordon early on a few weeks ago. Is Patrick Peterson on the horizon for the New England Patriots? And if not them, who's another team that can use Patrick Peterson and who's willing to pay that price? The Cardinals did a smart move. They said, we're not going to trade Patrick Peterson. But that's what you have to say to keep the price high. Because if you say, yeah, we're gonna look into it, then teams are going to be like, well, if you're going to trade him, and if you have to trade him, we'll give you a third. So what will it take for the Cardinals to ship out Patrick Peterson, who is a team player, great in the community, never really says much? So do they go forward with this deal because he doesn't want to play for the Cardinals anymore? He wants to play for a winner. And I don't blame him for thinking that way and feeling that way whatsoever. But at the same time, he can't come out and say, well, I want to play for these two teams or these three teams. You got to broaden your horizon and give the Cardinals a little bit more option. Just say, you know what, don't trade me to a team that has more losses than wins. Then you can open it up for more. But that remains to be seen. That's coming down the pike real fast, the trade deadline, 7 days from today. And there's going to be some trades. There's going to be some more trades. You better believe that. We saw the Eli Apple trade today. We saw the trade with Amari Cooper yesterday. Carlos Hyde got traded over the weekend to Jacksonville from Cleveland. And then Josh Gordon from Cleveland to New England a few weeks back. There's going to be a couple more big names that are going to get traded here in the next, 7 days. Maybe here in the next couple days. So look out for that. Derek Carr, man, I was talking about him a little bit. Derek Carr, a lot of reports coming out that, you know what, his teammates really don't like him. And a lot of reports talking about he's a crybaby. Like, oh, poor me. Nobody likes me. Nobody cares for me. Is he on the trade block? Is he damaged goods for the Raiders? And what I mean for the Raiders is, can he possibly go back to his form again? It looked like him and Amari Cooper are at the hip. Because Derek Carr, his first couple years was trending up. And then he broke his leg and then had an average season last year and is having a below average, but way below average this season this year. Amari Cooper did the same thing. So what's happening there? Can Derek Carr regain a form his first 2 years? Personally, I do not see Derek Carr. I was going to say David Carr, his brother. Derek Carr, will he finish the season with the Raiders? Yeah, more than likely. But I don't see him as a Raider after this year. He's going to get traded at some point, whether it be, this week, which again, I highly doubt. But in the offseason, I guarantee you, he's either going to get released or traded. The Raiders do not want this guy to be the quarterback, especially with all the reports of his teammates saying they just don't see eye to eye with Derek Carr. If Derek Carr says, you know what, I really want to be a Raider, even though I know there's a lot of stuff being said about me, and if he knows it, then this must be true because he's not fighting him. He's not saying that's not true. And John Gruden, man, fire sale, but you know what? You got to give it to John Gruden because of what he's gotten in return. Now, the Khalil Mack trade, I don't get it, but I kind of get it because they weren't going to pay him anyways. So you're not going to pay a guy. You used to get 2 first-round picks for him. You got a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. I give John Gruden an A+++ extra credit for getting a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. He won that trade because he got a first-round pick for a receiver that's average at best while he was with the Raiders. That's crazy, man. You look at the production, that's like the Broncos asking for 2 first-round picks for Demaryius Thomas, which won't happen. But I'm just saying, if you just base it on production, Amari Cooper hasn't produced anything whatsoever. He hasn't produced enough to garner a 4th-round pick. But the Cowboys saw the age, and they saw something flashy in him. Can they fix it? Maybe. But that's 50-50. So now Derek Carr. Is anybody going to call for Derek Carr this week? Maybe. Who can use Derek Carr this week? Jacksonville Jaguars. They can use Derek Carr now, yesterday, 2 years from now. Because Blake Bortles ain't gonna get it done. They are not going to the Super Bowl. They're not probably they're not going to get to the playoffs if Blake Bortles is their quarterback. I'm just telling you that right now. So does Jacksonville care? Then you got to find a way to make a move. Something. But Derek Carr will not be a Raider starting the 2019 season. I guarantee you that. So Gruden's getting his first-round picks. He's like, I'm getting ready to move to Vegas. I want all these first-round picks. I want my new team. It's going to be based on me. And that's why the Raiders hired John Gruden. They hired John Gruden because they said, you know what? We know we got to get rid of a lot of these players. What can we do so that we're not being scrutinized? Now, you're going to be scrutinized either way. But when you got John Gruden at the helm, then you got some of the attention taken away from management, and now it's on Gruden. But Gruden could take it. He's like, I don't care. I got my $100 million. I don't care if I trade this guy, that guy, or the other. He knows how to speak to the media. He knows exactly what to say. And he's getting first-round picks from him. So you have to give him that. He's just not getting rid of these guys for nothing. He's putting high price tags. Now, he can thank the Cowboys for being dumb, but he got what he wanted. And then some. Because you can't tell me Gruden was like, well, we're going to trade Cooper. I think we're going to get a first. No, that just came out of nowhere. It's like, we'll give you first. And Gruden was like, well, you drive a hard bargain, but we'll go ahead and take your first. But inside, he's like, oh, my goodness, you're going to give me a first for that? Good luck. And will he produce for Dallas? I believe he will. More so than what anybody's been producing there, just because the Cowboys haven't been able to produce anything at the receiver position. Cole Beasley shows some flashes, but he's not going to be a leading receiver. And you don't want him to be a leading receiver. You want him to be a slot machine, create mismatches underneath in the middle. That's about it. Little 4 or 5 yard passes. But, teams aren't going to be afraid of that. You put Amari Cooper in there and you show some explosiveness. That might change things a little bit. But again, that's a big if for a first-round pick. So what's going to happen with the Raiders? Do they have any more trades coming down here in the near future? Remains to be seen. Derek Carr will not be a Raider. Guarantee you that. He will not be a Raider 2019. He just fell off, man. Fell off a cliff. Amari Cooper fell off a cliff. Is it the organization? Is it something? I don't know what it is, man. It's the ghost of Al Davis. Just win, baby. Well, you're not winning, baby. Sorry. Staying in the AFC West, in some just dumb news, backup quarterback Chad Kelly for the Denver Broncos, who all Denver Bronco fans are like, we need to put Chad Kelly in because if Chad Kelly starts a game, this offense will be different. He throws the ball better. Look, man, pump the brakes on that. There's a reason why he's a backup in the NFL. I'm pretty sure in practice, the coaches can see, well, Chad Kelly's all right, but he's not better than Case Keenum because then he would be starting. They wouldn't have any issues taking out Keenum a while ago if Chad Kelly was all that in a bag of chips. And now this, Chad Kelly gets arrested for breaking and entering, for trespassing last night. And the Broncos took a chance on him. John Elway specifically took a chance on him because Jim Kelly was like, give my give my nephew a shot. So Chad Kelly is Jim Kelly's nephew. Jim Kelly's his uncle. Durr. And he personally called John like, look, man, if you draft this guy, he's going to work hard. Give him a chance. And, there was reports that had he not gotten injured, had he not gotten in trouble, he would have been a second-round pick. Or if he would have stayed in school, he could have been a first-round pick. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. The Broncos were like, okay, we're going to get him with the last pick of the draft. Drafted him in the 7th round. Mr. Irrelevant in 2017. Makes the team. Gets through his injuries. This year becomes the backup quarterback. They let go of Paxton Lynch. And he's this close to being the starter for the Denver Broncos because of play by the starting quarterback and the team. More so the team. And because the fans are crying about it, because the fans always want the backup quarterback, it doesn't matter who the backup quarterback is. I can suit up for the Broncos right now and I'll be the backup quarterback. Never threw a pass in my life. But let a quarterback do a bad play and let's put the backup in. Jesse's better. That'd be awesome. But no, that's not the way it works. There's a reason why he's a backup. And with this now happening, and they've already reported, John Elway is pissed. He is upset because of this. If I'm the Denver Broncos, I cut all ties and I say, peace out, bro. You out of here. Go find a job somewhere else. We'll sign a backup quarterback that isn't going to act like an immature kid. We gave you an opportunity. You threw it all away. And plus, you just have to look at the Denver Broncos organization. And because they are a class organization, they can't keep this guy, can they? So look out for anything there. See what happens there. See what excuse they come out with if they do keep him. Because they're going to have to build a real good excuse for them to provide evidence that anything is going to change for Chad Kelly and the Denver Broncos. Man, you get an opportunity to do something like that, and then, I don't know, man. Sometimes I scratch my head. You get an opportunity and you throw it all away. What the heck are you doing trespassing to somebody else's house, man? If a girl don't like you, let her not like you. Go look for somebody else. Don't force your way into her house. I'm thinking that's the only reason why you're going to somebody's house. It's because the girl told you no. Or she was with somebody else. And you're trying to figure out why. And you force yourself into the house. Because if you're doing anything else but that, if you're trying to steal some things, dude. Or if you just have an issue with some random person. I'm telling you, man. Sometimes I don't know what goes on in the heads of these people. Man. But you a quarterback in the NFL, and that's how you act. That's, I guess, why they call him Machine Gun Kelly, Swag Kelly, because he has to act like an idiot. He acted like an idiot. And all you fans that think he should start for the Denver Broncos, you're the same thing. That's just what it is. I'm sorry. He's not a starting quarterback. Not at this point. Probably never will. Because of his actions and decision making. That's not there. You have to believe his uncle is probably upset because he put his name out there. He put himself out on the line saying, you know what? Come on, John, give my nephew a chance. He's going to do everything. So now his word don't mean nothing no more. You done put that out there now. Jim Kelly's like, man, you suck. But that's all I got to say about that. let's get into the new top 10 or the power rankings, man. NFL style, you know how we do as we about to finish up this fast break sports hour, especially because I'm about to pick up my son here in 10 minutes. Let's make this short and sweet. Obviously, when we talk about the top 10 in the NFL, if you guys watch football, the top two is not changing. We know who the top two teams in football are. That's not even a question. You know what I'm saying? Top two teams in football, Rams and Chiefs. I'm not giving anything away. There's no surprise there. I'm just letting you know. So I'm going to start from 1 to 10 because there's no surprise at number 1. So let's get this thing going. At number 1, you got the LA Rams, 7-0. And until they, I don't care how they win. They can win 6-3. They can win 56-52. They can barely beat the worst team in football. But if you're undefeated, you're going to stay number 1. Los Angeles Rams, until you lose, which I'm looking at the schedule, and it probably won't happen until the next 3 weeks when you have that game in Mexico City, in Mexico. La Ciudad de Mexico is going to get to see the Rams versus the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. The two best teams in football on Monday night, Mexico. Los regalos que te da la NFL. Rams are number 1. Number 2 is the Chiefs. They're going to Mexico también as well to play the Rams in a few weeks. Mexico City, Monday Night Football, game of the year probably. Man, I mean, that Patriots-Chiefs game was a pretty awesome game. Will this be the Rams' first loss if they don't lose here in the upcoming games against Aaron Rodgers? Because you got Aaron Rodgers going to L.A. Oh, man. Baddest man on the planet, Aaron Rodgers, going to L.A. But L.A. is number 1. Chiefs are number 2. At number 3, the New England Patriots, the GOAT, Tom Brady, just doing his thing. He's like, all right, you guys can talk about Mahomes. You guys can talk about the Rams. We're going to do our thing on the down low when nobody's watching. And we're going to end up 13-3, probably the 1 or 2 seed, and get back to the Super Bowl. That's what Tom Brady does. Let's keep it real. Patriots are number 3. At number 4, Drew Brees. Drew Brees, my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year, the New Orleans Saints, not the Rams, the New Orleans Saints. They're number 4, 5-1, big win against Baltimore. Justin Tucker missed that extra point, so that was a big loss for the Ravens, missing that extra point. Big win for the Saints. Saints are 5-1. Man, they won 5 in a row since losing that first game to the Buccaneers where they lost 48-40, where things weren't looking that good. 5-1 the Saints. They're number 4. At number 5, my other Super Bowl pick, the Los Angeles Chargers. Yes, I have the Chargers and the Saints going to the Super Bowl. If you guys watched the first shows before the season started, Los Angeles Chargers, man, they're number 5, 5-2. Phillip Rivers. That game should have went to overtime, but a coach tries to outsmart the system and says, no, we're going for 2 because we're going to go for the win. No, you lost the game. So the Chargers are 5-2. They're coming back from London, full force, 5-2. Minnesota Vikings, they're number 6. 4-2-1. Play the Jets. Beat down the Jets. Everybody beats down the Jets. That's just how it works. Well, except for the Broncos. Except for the Lions. I mean, the Jets do have 3 wins, but they're not that good. Minnesota Vikings did what they had to do. 4-2-1. Carolina Panthers, they're my number 7 team. 4-2. Humongous win in Philadelphia. They were down 17-0 in the third quarter. And they came back and scored the last 21 points. And they win the game 21-17. I'm telling y'all, the Eagles 3-4, they got to make a move because they're not going to stand pat. They are the defending champions. But we're not talking about the Eagles. We're talking about the Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey. Greg Olsen is back. He's going to keep getting better. You know the linebackers back there. Thomas Davis just came back last week. Luke Kuechly, they do their thing. Panthers, man, number 7. At number 8, the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers were off. They're 3-2-1. They got a big game against the Los Angeles Rams coming up. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams going to be doing things. They're going to have to do things. And you have to wonder if Geronimo Allison's going to be there. Randall Cobb's going to be there. We don't know. But they're going to need all full force to go against that Rams team of Todd Gurley, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, and Cooper Kupp should be back. So we're going to see what happens with the Packers. They are my number 8 team at 3-2-1. At number 9, a team that's won 4 in a row. man. And they beat the Jaguars. They beat down Jacksonville in Jacksonville. The Houston Texans, number 9. They're 4-3. They started off 0-3. That's Man, the Giants, they're 1-6. Their only win was against the Texans, and it wasn't looking good. The Texans woke up and they won the last 4. They are leading the division now over the Jaguars, over the Titans, obviously over the Colts. So they're number 9. And at number 10, I got the Baltimore Ravens. Tough loss against the Saints. End of the game. Missed the extra point. That game should have went to overtime. The Ravens just are a team to me that can beat anybody at any given moment. But they're also a team that can lose to anybody at any given moment. They're not afraid of the circumstance. They're not afraid of where they're playing. I like the Ravens overall. That's why they're my number 10 team at 4-3. Keep it locked on the Fast Break Sports Hour, man. We do this almost daily, man. That's what we do. Fast Break Sports Hour going to be in full effect. Man, I don't know if I'm going to do a show tomorrow, but definitely on Thursday. Catch me one of these days. Man, if you subscribe, you'll know because you'll get the little, and you click the little bell thing, you'll know when I'm on because it's going to say Fast Breaks on. Put that thing on. You know what I'm saying? The Fast Break Sports Hour is here to stay. Definitely for Full Force Football Friday. Never going to miss that. I did last week, but I had to work, man. I already talked about that. I'm not going to give any more excuses. I don't got to tell you nothing. But that's all I got for y'all. Again, Roman Reigns, man. Let's all have prayers for Roman Reigns to beat this leukemia bull, you know what, so he can come back and do his thing. Thank y'all for joining me here live on the Fast Break Sports Hour. We're out. Go Dodgers.